Hello, I'm Sonia West. Welcome to Khas Mulakat. Today in the studio, we have Councillor Linda Annis. She's got some important information for us today. She's going to be talking about Brenda Locke's $600 million arena without a plan, a budget, or tenant. These are her words. We're going to talk to her about what that means. Let's welcome Linda Annis to the studio. Hello, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure to see you. And we were reading this news release that came out, and it's very interesting because you've got some strong opinions, and you do want to talk about this very important topic about $600 million being invested in this arena, and you're feeling like there's no actual plan. So, and that's concerning because Surrey residents want to know. So let's talk about this. Why do you believe the proposed arena is not the right investment for Surrey right now?
Surrey is growing so quickly, and we know that there's somewhere between 12 to 1,500 people moving here each and every month. And to put that into perspective, since I've been a city councillor, about 80,000 people have moved here.
Wow.
We know we're short of recreation facilities, everything from pools, rinks, playing fields, recreation facilities.
Yeah.
And we know that, certainly it's very important that we keep up with this. Having the proper sporting and cultural facilities, particularly for our youth, is a really good solution of keeping kids out of gang activity.
Right, absolutely. So this $600 million, this proposed $600 million, where do you think it would be better spent specifically?
Well, first of all, the $600 million, I'd like to just point out, is an estimate. We've not done any costing for this, which is problematic to me.
Okay.
I've looked at what the Newton Recreation new center is going to cost, and it's over $300 million. So I think it's safe to say that an arena like this is going to cost at least twice that amount of money.
Okay.
We need to be investing in activities where our youth can benefit. For example, one of the things that I want to do is see all children under the age of 18 have access to our recreation facilities at no cost.
Oh, that would be nice. I know a lot of our viewers would be very happy to hear that. I mean, it's an opportunity for kids to just be kids without the restriction of money.
It is, because oftentimes families can't afford to be sending their kids to the recreation centers.
Yeah.
And if kids are going there after school, you can be sure that they're involved in healthy activities, and it keeps them on the right track.
Oh, I love that actually, because once they're in an environment where they're, helping their bodies to grow and their mind is, dedicated to learning and not, extracurricular activities, if you will. So that's a really nice concept. So as far as sports teams and organizations, do you think that is there a demand for this type of an arena for the current sports organizations we have?
I hear so often, and far too often, from families and from teams that there isn't enough fields available for kids and adults to play sport.
Okay.
And it's, kids are trying to get registered into swim classes, get tennis lessons or get into soccer leagues or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And sometimes parents are having to go to other cities to actually be able to get their kids the activities that they want. Right. And that's not right.
No.
We need to be providing that here in Surrey.
So we do need something.
What the arena, what that is, that's not for public use for sporting activities. The ice arena there would be designed to attract a team perhaps, but most of the teams in the Lower Mainland that could fill a stadium up to 10,000 already have a home. So my question for the mayor is, why are we building this?
Okay, so what is the exact purpose of the arena that the mayor is proposing?
So it's a 10,000 seat arena.
Yeah.
Could be expanded up to 12,000 for floor seating for concerts and things like that.
Okay.
But you need to have a lead tenant. These arenas or stadiums of that size, they cost money to operate.
Right.
And not having a lead tenant is very problematic. Okay. You need to be able to have them to at least cover some of the operating costs, and then you have to go out and market it for trade shows and things like that, or concerts.
Right.
It's just, I don't see the value proposition right now when we're in such dire need of so many other fields and recreation facilities.
You're thinking more for the people immediately than for the bigger audience type. You're thinking more for kids and their sports.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I might add, we don't have the funding in place for this arena. We have $4 million allocated between now and the next 5 years. So it's not going to happen anytime real soon.
Right.
And I think we need to be investing in our future, which are our kids, and doing it now.
Okay. What concerns you the most about the lack of a plan, budget, or timeline for the arena?
All of the above.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be announcing something until we have those things in place. We need to know exactly what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Who's, what teams are we going to attract there? What is the plan for it?
Right.
And what is the economic benefit to the city? We don't know any of that right now.
Okay.
So why are we announcing it now? We should wait till we have the facts. Otherwise, it's just a pie in the sky project.
Right. Okay. You've said Surrey kids are on wait lists for swimming and skating. How serious is the shortage of local recreation space?
It's very serious. We haven't built an awful lot in the past 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
We soon will be opening up the Cloverdale Ice Arena, which is
Yes.
great news,
Yeah.
But it's a long time in coming. The Newton Recreation Centre was actually approved to be built back in 2020, I believe it was. I'm just trying to get my years.
Yeah.
It might have been 2021.
Okay.
Had the funding in place, but then the current mayor now decided she wanted to move it across the street, so it's delayed.
Okay.
We haven't started to even build that yet. So we're in dire straits for having enough sporting activities and recreation facilities for our kids and for our families.
Right. And so just to make that distinction, you absolutely support when the mayor is saying, let's build this for the kids, recreational facilities, you support that 100%. It's when it's something that's not necessary without a budget that you're like, no.
Well, the arena that's going in City Centre is not for the kids,
Yeah.
not 100%.
Right. Okay.
It's a spectator sport, not dissimilar to, for example, the arena in Chilliwack or Abbotsford
Right.
or Langley Event Centre or the Coliseum. It's not to go and skate or to have, local hockey games for the youth. No. That's what we need our recreation facilities for.
Got it. Recreation facilities more family focused, I guess.
Correct.
Right. You've talked about making facilities free for the kids under 18. How would that work in practice? I loved your idea. When you said it, I thought that was amazing. How would that actually happen?
Well, it could be with a pass. How oftentimes you get a pass to go when you sign up to join the rec
Yes.
centers.
Yeah.
If you have a pass and you're under the 18, you swipe it and it's free.
That's it. Oh my goodness, that would be so amazing.
But I
know.
would say I would leave it to the experts to find the best way to do it. But that just seems
Right.
like a very simple way to
Easy
do
way.
it.
Yeah, just and for kids, I mean, the simpler the better. They've got other things to worry about with their studies and such. So to have that would be a really nice thing. Can you explain more about the 20-year plan you'd like to see for sports and recreation in Surrey? You did talk about that, so just elaborate on your 20-year plan.
Absolutely. So what we need to be looking at is in the next 20 years, we know how Surrey is going to be growing.
Yeah.
We need to have a plan in place in terms of how we're going to support our families in Surrey with recreation facilities. What are the timelines? And we need to do a build at Surrey, if you will, and have a plan for recreation facilities. We also need to be doing the same thing for all services in Surrey.
Right.
We need to be proactive as opposed to reactive.
Okay, so identifying what we need, where we need it, and then executing that plan before anything else.
100%. We know what areas of Surrey are going to be getting, beginning to be densified. And for an example, along the Fraser Highway corridor, we've got SkyTrain going in.
We do.
We do, and we're going to have lots of people moving there.
That's right.
And we have, one recreation facility there. So what are we doing to build up there? I mean, and there's many, many other areas as well.
Yeah, I guess along Fraser Highway, we have Surrey Sport and Leisure.
Correct.
And that's the only one along that route.
That's correct, yes.
So definitely a need for more.
Yeah, we have the Fleetwood Rec Centre, but it's tucked back a bit,
Yeah.
but it's a large area and will be very dense.
Right.
We need to have activities. If you're living in a small apartment, you've got to have places to go.
Absolutely. Do you feel the current city leadership is listening to what local families and communities really need?
We have been talking certainly to families. We do open houses pre-budget,
Yeah.
but are we doing enough? Absolutely not.
Okay.
We really need to be connecting more with the families
Yeah.
and being proactive.
Right. Wonderful. It's nice that you identify these things. I mean, when we think about city council, yes, we have the mayor and then we have the councillors, but to have these questions, being brought up, you're fighting for the people. That's obvious And when we talk to you, you're saying, you know, I don't agree with everything. You agree with the good things that you think are beneficial, but there's some things where you're like, no, this is not the time.
Well, and I think absolutely that's my job as a counselor, is to be
Yeah.
listening to the community, finding out what they want, what they need,
Right.
and advocating for them. And sometimes it might not be the most popular decision at council, but that's my job.
Yeah. So if the mayor moves ahead with this, because I'm sure you're maybe there's more city councillors that do not agree, but maybe there are some that are actually in favor of this. What happens with this arena plan if the mayor goes ahead with it, and how do you plan to oppose it?
Well, a couple of things. The mayor, first of all, needs to come up with the financing for it.
Okay.
She also needs to come up with a plan. How is this going to be executed?
Right.
Quite frankly, I don't see this happening in the next year and a half.
Yeah.
And then we, of course, have an election to go through as well.
Yes.
I think I will continue, if it does move forward, to continue to make sure that if it does, that it is financially viable. And I will continue to point out if it's not.
Right.
And I will also continue to advocate, if it does move forward,
Yeah.
to make sure that there are activities in place there that will help support families.
Right. It's good to be questioning these things. When is the election coming up? What is the date? Do you know roughly?
It's October 2026, so it's a ways off yet. But
Yeah.
just looking at our budget for this year that was just approved,
Right.
it has, we do a 5-year budget,
Okay.
and over the 5-year period, we've only allocated $4 million.
Yeah, it's a far way to go.
Yes.
Yeah. So what message would you have for Surrey residents that are worried about how the city is spending their tax dollars? Because when these rules get passed, and I mean, the conversation is not going to go right to the residents. Sometimes we just have to, you know, take our lumps and, you know, accept the decision. What would you say to the Surrey residents about their tax dollars and where it's being spent? What would the message be for us that are worried about it?
Well, I think we have to be very responsible with our tax dollars.
Yeah.
We have to spend them in a very, very efficient way,
Right.
which is one of the reasons why I've been advocating for an auditor general for the city of Surrey.
Okay.
In this particular position, which is most big cities across Canada have one,
Okay.
including Vancouver, and I might add will be bigger than Vancouver soon.
Yes.
We have a very complex budget. It's almost $2 billion.
Sorry, I want to make sure we make it clear, because our viewers that are watching, I want them to understand what exactly would the role be of the auditor. Explain. I know it's kind of self-evident, like from the words, but please explain.
So an auditor general
Yeah.
is an independent party that basically can go look anywhere in our financial statements or
Right.
look at best practices and look to make sure, A, are we doing things most efficiently?
Right.
How can we improve our processes?
Okay.
Are we spending taxpayers' money wisely? And they, in their position, it's not a position that's controlled by council or by staff. They're independent,
Right, which is so important.
which I think is hugely important because taxpayers' dollars are precious, and we know everything's going up in cost.
Okay.
And the last thing that residents of Surrey want is big tax increases. Nobody
course.
can afford it.
No. So then the auditor would come in, and then how would that work? So continue.
So they work on on an ongoing basis
Yeah.
when they're employed. We don't have one right now,
Right.
but if they were, and they can make sure that we're doing things in the most efficient way with the arena or with anything,
Okay.
and make sure we've got the processes in place. Make sure that we're accountable for the taxpayers' dollars and that the project's viable.
Right. The reason I smiled just now is I was writing the word accountable as you said it, so we're on the same page. So when people are worried, you've got an answer for them, and you want to make sure that they're not feeling the stress of this. If an auditor was in place, that would alleviate that, because that mystery would be gone. Is this the right thing or not? We'd have black or white, basically. Here's the report.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been advocating this for a while, but I think it's high time that we get on and get an auditor general.
Other cities have this?
Most major cities across Canada do.
Okay.
The
So-
big cities, that is.
Yeah, so Vancouver has one.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you'd want us to have the same transparency here as well.
100%.
Yeah. What other things are you working on? We've talked about this, and this is a big issue, and thank you for bringing it forward, because it's always a little bit scary when you hear numbers like 600 million. That's a big one.
And that's a guesstimate, right? I
Yeah.
don't know, but I do know it's going to be at least twice or perhaps even more than the Newton Recreation Centre.
Right. So what other things are you working on? Let's talk about you and your role. I mean, you do a lot of things to help the community. I know this because we see you at every event, always helping, even outside of your obligation to the city. You're doing wonderful things for the community on a personal level too, we've seen. But tell me a bit about you. I want to know a little bit more about Linda Annis.
Oh, sure. Happy to share that. Something that's near and dear to my heart. And I would say in my city role as a city councillor, but also I'm also the executive director of Metro Vancouver Crime Stoppers.
Wonderful.
And I'm very passionate about public safety, and I'm watching the Surrey Police Service transition
Yes.
with great optimism. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing for the city. And so I'm quite involved in watching that and very concerned to make sure that public safety is always remains forefront. I know it's very important. We all want to feel safe in our community.
Right.
And I do think the Surrey Police Service is doing a great job of helping us with that.
All right. And what other things are you doing? I know that as far as the city goes, let's talk about that now. So you're helping the community become safer, and that kind of goes in hand with being a city councillor. What other initiatives do you want to take on to improve the city?
I want Surrey to be much more livable. I think, and people commuting, doesn't matter what time of the day right now,
Right.
our roads are gridlocked.
They
and
are.
We need to find better ways to move people around Surrey.
Yeah.
And I think a large part of that is also making sure we have jobs in Surrey.
Right.
We need to really build our economic base here
Yeah.
because we don't have enough jobs here in Surrey for Surrey residents. If we can do that, that also helps with the commuting a great deal as well.
Absolutely. When you talked about the roads, I had a reaction myself, because whenever I'm driving, it'll take me, like, even from where our studio is here, so we're on 132 and 76, just around the corner to 72nd. To get there, it takes me about 20 minutes. When if I walked that distance, it would take me about 4. It's so terrible. Anywhere we go, it's really bad right now. So when you talk about the roads, that needs to be sped up. I don't know how that would happen, but as a Surrey resident, that is a request from me.
Well, absolutely. And with that comes transit too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's wonderful that we've got SkyTrain going through Surrey,
Yeah.
coming from Langley through to Surrey Central and then on to other parts.
Right.
Doesn't help most of Surrey.
No.
So we need to be looking at other modes of transportation and really coming up with a strong transportation plan.
Yeah.
It will make Surrey much more livable.
Yes.
The more time we're not on the roads is time we can be spending with our families or doing activities in our rec centres.
Yes, and friendlier for the environment as well.
Way friendlier.
And then the other thing is, when I'm driving, I don't know what it is, but I come across a lot of either roundabouts, or we've got stop signs, and we need a traffic light there. There's a lot of that within the city. I can identify a few areas. I mean, off camera, I'll probably tell you the actual locations, but there's a few spots like that where you see a lot of near high schools where children are crossing and the people aren't really watching, and there's only a two-way stop, and people are just gunning it, and it's really scary.
We need to get a real fix on that. We've got an excellent transportation centre in the city of Surrey that
Yes.
monitors all of that, but we need the infrastructure in place too. So we need more roundabouts, we need more sidewalks,
Right.
we need lights in certain places, and I would also venture to say in some spots we need more speed bumps too.
Yes, I would agree with that. What other things do you think that the city of Surrey needs to improve, and how would we improve these things?
Well, one certainly is housing.
Oh, yes.
We have around 45,000 units that are approved to be developed.
Okay.
But right now, we're not even getting 20% of that.
Why is that?
And a lot of it is out of the control of the city, because
Okay.
a lot of it has to do with, the current economic state, and the projects just aren't penciling out for developers. But we at the city
Yeah.
need to make sure that we're moving projects through as quickly as we can.
Right.
Quicker approvals mean, quicker opportunities for developers to start if they
Right,
can,
right.
because time is money.
Absolutely, and then people can move into their homes.
Absolutely.
So the $600 million arena, you're saying, no way, not yet. We need to spend the money where the kids are and help families.
Absolutely. I want to be clear. I'm a big supporter of having things like stadiums and arenas,
Yeah.
but they aren't our priority right now.
Right.
Our priority is helping families in Surrey.
Wonderful. So the viewers that are watching, thank you so much for being with us today. I want you to give them a message, any message you want. It could be about the arena. It could be anything that you want to tell them, but you can look right in that camera over there.
I would say that my message to your viewers are really, if you have questions, reach out to council. Sometimes you're looking for more information, reach out to us. That's what we're there for. We're there to serve you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that was our program today, Khas Mulakat with Councillor Linda Annis. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.